Yo, we back with another episode of the No Level Cap podcast. I'd like to introduce everybody to our panel. We got the Black Daredevil and the best actor in Austin, Terrence Flowers. What's good, Terrence?
Hey, as Raheem usually says, I'm still black, so you know what? I'm going to go with that. I'm the Black Daredevil, so yeah, still black, yeah.
It's a great answer. We've got the collector of collectors and triangle strategy enthusiast, Will Coleman. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing pretty goddamn good tonight, right now. You know what I'm saying? Got to keep it hydrated right now.
Always got to make sure that you're not thirsty. That's just a good rule as long as you're on the internet.
Yeah. Exactly.
I didn't need that moaning in my ear, but all right. We got the living cartoon and the man with the golden voice, Rakeem Beck. What's going on, Keem?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we have Sage Ashford, Terrence Flowers, and Will Coleman. Welcome to No Level Cap Podcast.
That's why I call him the man with the golden voice.
Let's get ready to rumble.
It sounds like that all day living with this man. And I'm your host, the man who won't shut up, Sage Ashford. What's popping? This week, we are about a week away from depending on when this episode goes up, we're about a week away from the next season of anime, summer anime, which looks to be like a pretty amazing season from what I've seen. But we're not here to talk about that right now. We're here to talk about the spring season. We talked about, we got 3 weeks into the last season, and we watched everything, and we wanted to check in. Now that everything's over, I wanted to see how devoted are y'all? Did y'all cheat? Did you dip? Did you abandon your shit? Or did you finish some of your shows? Everybody was watching a whole bunch of shows, and I know how it goes when you watch a lot of anime, unless you just like a no-lifer. And I mean, if you just gotta or if you just have the one hobby and all you do is watch anime, then maybe you were able to get through everything. If you're part of the no-drop clique, and maybe you were able to get through everything. But I know everybody on this panel, and none of y'all built like that, myself included. All of us at some point watched a whole bunch of shit, said we was gonna finish it, lied to ourselves, and then we got to the end and we was like, yeah, I finished one show, maybe 2 shows, and there's a couple shows I'm not gonna come back to, a couple shows you dropped. So I just wanted to see, I want to take temperature. So let's start with this. Let's start with, what shows are you still watching? Terrence, what shows are you still watching, man?
Like you said, at the beginning of spring, I started off I'm going to watch 10 different shows. I'm going to make sure to watch them every week. I'm going to be all caught up. Yeah, that didn't happen. The 3 show, and funny enough, actually, if I hadn't marathon 3 shows yesterday and today, I would have brought nothing to the table today. So yeah, I'm a bad anime fan.
What? So if I asked you what do you bring to the table, you wouldn't have had an answer?
I mean,
disgusting.
The only thing that I bring to the table is a broken table. So
Table.
No, but in all seriousness though, what'd you just say?
You are enough.
You are enough.
Proud of who you are.
I appreciate the motivational talk, Rocky. No, but so pretty much 3 is where I am right now anyway. I just finished Shield Hero season 2. I'm about on episode 8 of Spy Family, and I'm on I think episode 8 or 9 of Summertime Rendering. And I had a whole bunch of other shows that I was watching, and some of them I even got to 3 episodes on, like Aharin-san. I got to 3 episodes on that.
Let's stick to, because I'm gonna ask you about that a little later.
Okay.
So the shows that you managed to kind of keep pace with are Spy Family, Shield Hero, and Summertime Rendering.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'll shut my mouth now.
No, I mean, I'm just wondering. Okay, so what made you stick with those 3 in particular?
I had started them, and that was kind of that was kind of the reason why. I mean, just Shield Hero. Shield Hero, I wanted to get through that just because when I finally got to a certain point with it, it got better. Because I remember when we talked about it on our episode about spring anime, I said that it had kind of it was off to a slow start. It did eventually get better, and maybe I'll explain this later on if you're asking for me to go in depth in it, but it did eventually get better, and I was able to finish it. And Spy Family, I had to watch that just because it's the anime of the season, let's be honest. And everybody's talking about it. It's gonna be if it's not gonna be the most popular anime this year, it's gonna be one of the most popular anime this year. So I had to finish that and or at least get to the point of finishing it. And
I can't think of nothing that's gonna compete with it, to be honest with you.
yeah, I mean, we'll see what fall delivers. I mean, hey, you know, fall's got a lot of bangers coming, so we'll see in summer too. But we're gonna get into that, I know, like in another episode. But and summertime rendering, I just really like the premise and it's a really cool show. It's unfortunate that no one's talking about it just because you can't watch it legally right now. It's not available on Crunchyroll. It'll eventually, I assume, come out on Disney Plus, but we don't know how Disney Plus is gonna do anime in terms of, are they going to dub it? Like, is there going to be some kind of, when summertime rendering comes to a close, which I think it actually is going to be 24 episodes. So it's actually not going to end until
the fall.
Yeah, pretty much until the fall is when it's going to end. So we might not see it till next year. So yeah, unfortunately nobody's talking about it right now. So I got to watch it just because I think it's good. And yeah.
Rakeem, what
sir.
shows are you still watching from the spring season? And I guess, like, if there's any continuing series that you still checking out, well, what are those?
I appreciate the loophole because that's definitely I've found myself watching two particular shows that are a little older. So first I'll start off with the current season, Spy Family. I'm sorry, because I'll go into that.
The X is not going to give it to you, so leave it out.
There was a nice callback to a previous episode. You can check out on YouTube. Speaking of that, I watched a Twitter thread today. I don't remember any of the people in the thread's names, but it was hilarious. Specifically about people pronouncing the X in Spy X Family and Hunter x Hunter. And they went so like deep into it, like the mindset of it. You're not supposed to say it because it's not part of the original text and all that. I get it. But they took it way too seriously. So I'm like, look,
yeah, it's not that serious.
for all you listeners out there who are just hardcore, I apologize. Because I'm still going to give you that X by X Family.
I was definitely finna say, like, I'm not apologizing. Stop being such a fucking weeb, was what I was gonna tell you. And this is coming from a giant fucking weeb. Stop being such a fucking weeb. This is not hard. Go ahead, Rakeem.
Anyway, yes. Still watching Spy Family. I think about one episode, two episodes behind. Really enjoying that. Still probably one of my favorite animes of the season. Continuing series I'm watching. My personal favorite series I've been watching the past year, Dragon Quest: The Adventures of Dai, still continuing to be pretty freaking good. We're getting to somewhat of the penultimate episodes of the finale. They're getting close to the final boss. Although they have found some creative way to pretty much every episode dance around the fact they're like feet away from the final dude, and some old character comes out of nowhere from you haven't seen in like 30 episodes and like rescue someone, or a villain comes back and separates the characters or some speech. They're pretty creative about it. I'll give them that. I felt like this anime was going to be done 20 episodes ago, and it's not. So I'm still enjoying it.
Is it like Inuyasha Naraku just keeps getting away somehow?
No. I mean, like, they're literally there. Like, at his castle, they had this epic battle. They're at the top of the castle. There's like 3 villains in between them and the main villain. He just sitting in his throne room, just like, what up? And they get there, and it's like some random thing happens, like a trap, or some villain comes out of nowhere, or an old character comes out of nowhere, or they go to a different side of the battle. You know how that, sometimes you have multiple characters at different sides of the battle.
All different perspectives.
So they have their own episode. Like, okay, you thought the heroes wanted to go fight the villain, but actually this one character, he's having this one-on-one fight with these other villains on his other side. Like something like that. So that's still going on. I'm still enjoying it though. Other than that, I have to blame Sage Ashford for introducing me to one of the most interesting political shows I've ever watched. Legends of the Galactic Heroes. I was, for like 2 weeks, I was hooked on that show. I literally watched an episode and ran up, because me and Sage live upstairs on the 3rd floor in this apartment. Ran up the stairs like, Sage, holy crap, dude. Check out what this dude said this, and how it like. What I like about Legends of Galactic Heroes is that even though it's technically a very old show, the original anime came out in the 80s, it's still so topical.
It's just timeless commentary.
It's the commentary applies to modern day almost seamlessly. It's scary. it's literally scary sometimes. Some of the topics, how much they line up.
The creator was quoted as saying a long time ago in an interview, he was like, the way I figured a lot of the same problems we face now and a lot of the same problems we faced in the past, we'll still be facing them 1,000 years from now. And if judging by how you feel about the episodes, it just kind of lines up. Like it feels just as topical now as it did 40 years ago. Jesus. 80s were 40 years ago. It feels just as topical now as it did 40 years ago, and it'll probably feel that topical 40 years from now.
Wow. But so I've been really, really enjoying that one. That's a continuous I've been watching. I haven't finished the most recent season. I went through the first 2 seasons. The current season is more recent. I'm still watching that one. I've started that one. I haven't finished it. Other than that, I kind of fell off of some of the other series I was watching. I was watching World Trigger, but I haven't caught up to the most recent season. Some of the series I thought I was going to get into, because I remember I talked about one sports anime. I watched a little bit of Aoashi, and man, online people seem to freaking love it and love the manga. And I watched like half episode and then went back to it. I don't know why. I think I was distracted at the time. I couldn't get into it, so I'm gonna give it another shot. That's an anime I'm gonna pick back up. But the 3 I'm currently watching: Dragon Quest, Spy Family, Legend of Galactic Heroes. Oh, I'm sorry. Shadowverse Flame. I'm caught up with that one. That's a sleeper for me. I did not expect to like this show this much. It's a traditional card game battle anime, of course, but the reason I'm liking it so much is that every episode they dive more into characters' personalities along with the card game and like things they face or their personal issues. It's never nothing too serious, at least this far. It seems like it's gonna crank up on the ridiculousness later, but right now it's very, very personal. Like every character has like something about them, like an episode about a character who doesn't try hard because he has all these expectations, and the weight of his expectations have gotten to him, so he has a hard time taking anything seriously. That was a really cool way to kind of show a character arc. That was something I liked. Or another character who like had their spirit broken and felt like they should just give up on things, that they just shouldn't care as much as they can because inevitably they won't live up to it won't live up to the things that they want to accomplish. They'll hit that wall, and that was another thing to kind of dive into. And the strategies of the cards and things like that, I've liking the heck out of that show too. So Shadowverse Flame, I'm still watching that, still kicking. So Spy X Family, Shadowverse Flame, Legend of Galactic Heroes, and Dragon Quest: The Adventures of Die. Those are my big 4 right now. I'm watching those. I'm loving them.
Will, what shows have you stuck with? What shows from the spring season or any like older shows are you still watching?
Okay, as of right now, because I actually got my Crunchyroll sitting in front of me on my screen right now, so that way I can be sure about what I'm watching. The main 3 that I know for a fact that I'm watching right now are, of course, Spy Family, because why would I not be in the loop on that? Tomodachi Game. I decided I'm gonna keep up with that one because I almost put it down, but my brain was like, you know what? Keep at it.
I heard that one got pretty lit. I might have to check it out again. Yeah,
definitely heard it was lit.
I'm moving on with it right now, and so far it's definitely doing something. I'm like, hey, you ain't looking like your bog standard death game right about now. You're doing something. You got my attention. And the 3rd show that I'm really keeping an eye on right now, because if I don't watch it, I'd be like kind of betraying the person that I am, and that's Haden-san wa Hakaranai. Yeah, I am keeping up with that right now. So yeah,
talk us about that one. Is it like living up to the expectations you had for it?
It's definitely being a really goofy ass show. That's what I like about it. Because like the opening credits to it, it gives off like that vibe of like, oh, it might just be a little rom-com. But then once you start watching the show, you're just like, this is not a fucking rom-com. This is just pure slapstick comedy in places with like 2 people who are just deadpan. And you're just like, it works. They have a dynamic and it works.
I know, like, what was it, like episode 4 or 5, the one that had the rap battles. That one kind of went viral a bit, so yeah, that one was really good.
Yes, that was like rap battles. That was rap battles, and the most recent episode I watched, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. They was competing because he was like, I realized I ain't beat her in nothing. I need to try to beat her in something. Bro, they went to playing basketball, bro. She was dumping 50 on this man.
Wow.
50-0. I'm like, bro, you can't beat her? That's
man,
crazy.
Getting crossed up by a girl that tiny?
Bro, he was getting worked. And everything. Basketball, ping pong.
Turn into shoes, bro.
He even got beat. He even got beaten swimming. He was swimming properly. She pulled up from under the water in front of him. She was like, "You was under there the whole time." She was like, "I just did it in one breath. I don't know how to do this breathing thing." I'm like, "What?"
Please
The
do not
show
try
gets
this at
wacky.
home.
Exactly.
Please
Don't try none of the shit she do. But it's a really fun show. I enjoy it. It's something I'm keeping up with. And and the show Keem just mentioned, Aoashi. I'm on episode 5 right now, trying to catch back up to it, and it's definitely what I wanted to be in a sports anime because it's showing me something. It's showing me something. It does have that little premise of small town boy goes to a big thing and kind of feels like he's out of place. It does have that premise going on, but there's something about it that I'm like, I kind of want to do this. I kind of want to do this. I want to keep this show going because I've never watched a soccer anime. I've always watched the usual basketball, baseball, and the odd one being I Shield 21, if y'all remember that.
Oh, that wasn't odd. That was the truth. That's what that
I was
was.
gonna say, who
It was-
doesn't?
it
That's
was-
like the only time they've ever tried to do American football.
Yeah, that's
that
what
I
I'm
know.
Yeah,
saying.
really, it is.
Yeah, that's the only time they ever tried. And a quick little tidbit I learned years ago there actually used to be some actual American football teams in Japan at some colleges, I think. That was really weird to learn. I was like, really? There used to be teams in Japan? Huh. I
That's
think
a
they were just for
very-
colleges, though.
It's such a rule intensive and like resource intensive sport. I can see how they got rid of that if they stopped.
Yeah, I think they may have stopped it. If not, it may still be kind of floating around.
Yeah.
As of now, I'm trying to just catch up on a bunch of shows. I'm trying to catch up on those in particular and keep up with those because I like them. And another show I kind of want to just throw in there for me because I really want to watch it is Shikimori's Not a Cutie. I want to get into that.
Well,
and
I actually do want to ask that in just a second.
I'll leave it alone for the time being. But other than that, I've been trying to be a good student of the anime. It's just this here kind of
I
this
did call
kind
you
of
you are the triangle strategy enthusiast. So I mean, I feel you.
And where can people catch the stream for that?
Yeah, man, the stream's over with for this. I mean, unless you
Oh.
want to see a new game plus run, by all means.
What's
don't
the
send
next
me
stream? What's the next game you're streaming?
the next game I'm streaming? Shit, that's a good question. Let's see. You know what? Why not? Because I want to do something a little bit on the quicker side. We ain't gonna pay that no mind. We might do this next. Bloodstained,
Hey,
Ritual of the Night.
People, let's sing.
That,
Ooh, I
that
gotta finish that.
first boss was a pain. I'll tell you
I gotta
that.
finish that game.
Because I ain't played it yet, and they keep adding new stuff to the game. So come check me out
Yeah,
on
it's got, like, new
twitch.tv/WillyDC28. That's where you'll
Yeah.
see me at.
Here we go. So what shows am I still watching? So I'm always weird every season. Like I was taking shots at the anime community, but I was also taking shots at myself. I am a part of it. How you pick a lot of shows, start off, and then you like, you wind up dropping a bunch of them and shit, and you wind up only finishing 1 or 2, maybe 3 at max. And I'm in that vein right now. There are a few that I dropped that I want to catch up on, which I'll ask y'all about that in just a second. But the ones I wound up watching were Spy Family, of course. I mean, like, that show is just too good. Like, it's the most wholesome series I've ever seen. And I need a palate cleanser every now and again because most of the shows I watch are.
It's the new
Not
gateway
necessarily.
anime.
You say what?
It's the new gateway anime.
It's a perfect gateway anime. It's the
Really
perfect
is.
kind of
Oh,
anime
yeah.
that you can just give to somebody, and you're like, I see y'all watching this nerd shit all the time. What's it like? And then you just give them Spy Family, and you don't have to worry about because there's not that much in the way of fan service. There's not a bunch of like weirdo shit. Yours brother's a little weird, but other than that, it's just a straightforward
Yeah.
show. It's just a good animated show, and it's wholesome and like. And Anya's like one of the best characters. She just constantly getting into trouble and fucking up. That soccer episode, I haven't laughed that hard in a very not soccer, volleyball. No, dodgeball. It was dodgeball. That dodgeball episode, I have not laughed that hard in a long time. I was in tears the whole episode. Everything mom teaches me is useless. Like I was in tears, bro.
Mom,
show's-
you're a liar.
That episode was excellent, and that show is perfectly animated. A show that's not perfectly animated is Ultimate Game. Life is Hard for Mobs or whatever it's called, like the full name. Way long. I just
Trapped
call
in
it
a
Ultimate
dating
Game.
sim.
Yeah, Trapped in a Dating Sim. That show is terribly animated. Like the plot's not that great. It kind of lives and dies off of its characters, which are kind of decent. And like it could have been a decent isekai anime that I could recommend to people, but the animation is just butt cheeks.
So it actually went downhill, you would say? Because I remember you giving it high praise the last time we talked about it.
the show has high praise, but the animation does not.
Okay.
The animation is bad. Like the plotting. If you can get with the plot by episode 2 or 3, you're not gonna get upset by it. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, this is fine. This is a good show. But like you gonna have to get past the animation. It's ass. Like it's not X arm bad, but like it's on some slide screen type shit. Like it looked like they animated that shit with a ViewMaster.
It ain't Seven Deadly Sins bad, is it? Like what was that? Like season 3 or 4? It ain't that bad, is it?
Okay, so let's straighten this out. Seven Deadly Sins is bad because of art style. Like you have off-model characters that just look bad. Ultimate Game is bad because of the animation. The animation is just like low tier. Some scenes are barely animated. It's just they do as little animation work as they possibly can, and it's just you could tell that it was done on a budget. You can tell that they were doing it as cheaply as they possibly could. The characters, for the most part, aren't off model, but the animation is just so poor and so weak that it's just a disappointment. But I mean, if you don't like if you're not taken with the main character, I think the main character is really the standout. And then like the relationship between the two girls that like him, because there's this like almost polyamory type vibe where they all kind of like each other romantically, and that's kind of cool. But if you don't care about that, I would say it's like a 6 at best, especially given the animation. But even as a fan of the show, I can't go any higher than a 7. I'm almost finished with it. I think I got one episode left that came out earlier this week, but I just didn't get a chance to get around to finishing it. But like I can't go any higher than 7 just because like objectively I'm looking at the animation, I'm like, this is not great. It's not great. So it's enjoyable, but it's not like it's only because I like the character so much that I'm even bringing it up. And then of course I got into Shield Hero season 2. I'm behind on it by like a lot. I just started to catch up because I was behind on Shield Hero as a whole, and I had not finished season 1. And I went back and I finished season 1, and then I got into season 2. And weirdly enough, what I wound up doing after you brought it up, Terrence, you were like, "Oh, the opening is kind of slow." I said, "Well, what was the manga like?" Which is not the source material. The source material is the web novel / the light novel, just to shut the nerds up. But I went and checked out the manga. I was like, okay, well, what's the manga like? And the manga handles things completely differently. There's so much more detail and there's so much more stuff going on. And like the anime is like, yeah, we're gonna skip all that shit. Like
I have some thoughts to share if you ask me about it later. Like I'll definitely share some thoughts on season 2 because I finished it. So yeah.
I did not finish it. I know there's a lot to like. I caught up on the manga mostly. I think I'm like on chapter 80 of 85, which takes you through most of season 2. So I kind of know what happens and I kind of have a good idea of what's going to happen in the story. But I mean, just in general, I'm like, man, really? Like, I like the manga quite a bit. The manga was still pretty good. It was pretty solid. But the anime, I'm like, this could have been like the first 2 episodes. I was like, we changing whole characters and how they behave and shit. I'm like, I don't like when you get too far off script, especially if you can't like if you're gonna elevate the script, that's one thing, but this wasn't a case of that. So that was a little bit disappointment. I guess I need to ask now if y'all remember what shows did you wind up dropping? What shows did you at first you were like, oh, I'm gonna watch this, and then it's just like you got around to it and you were like, for whatever reason you dropped it. Because I wound up dropping a lot of shows. Like in the end, the 3 shows I named are the shows I kept up with for the season, and then I started getting on my anime nostalgia kick, and I wound up watching some other shit that I wound up getting into Macross 7 again, and like Fate, Khalid Liner, Prisma Ilia, the magical girl show. I like marathoned all of that and got into season 2, and yeah. So like that type of thing. I was like, why am I watching these shows that are not that great when I can be watching something that I kind of like? So like, there are shows that I dropped, and I'll get into that. Will, what shows do you remember? Like, what shows did you say you were gonna watch, and you were like, man, I dropped that shit?
There were quite a lot of shows that I said that I would find myself getting into. I know I said that, and I'm only gonna pick up the direct, obvious one that I know for a fact that you and I both picked up and dropped immediately. Skeleton Knight. I'm gonna just go ahead and throw that on out there. for the obvious reasons. I'm gonna leave it plain and simple. Watch the first episode, and I guarantee you're gonna turn back around. You're gonna make a U-turn. You're gonna be coming up to your exit, and then you're gonna see there's a chance for you to leave. The chance for you to leave is gonna happen really quickly. You're gonna turn back around.
You're not gonna finish the first episode, really. Like, if unless you know what's gonna happen going in, or if you just have the tolerance for that type of stuff going on,
Mhm.
you're not gonna finish that first episode. You're gonna start it and be like, cut this
Yeah,
bullshit
who
off.
told them?
Yeah.
Like, who told them this is okay? Motherfuckers
So
gave
just-
you a warning
Is
and
it
then
just
jump right to
Skeleton
it.
Knight that you were like, I'm out, and that like the other ones you just like, whatever?
Yeah, most of them, like I said, it was just that one, and then looking down the list right now of like spring shows. I could be honest with you, like I said, I haven't been a good student due to. So yeah, I really hadn't had a chance to pick up any other shows I would love to have picked up right now. So Skeleton Knight, that's it.
Rakeem, I know you dropped some shows. Because there's one that I dropped that I never really I like watched part of an episode with you and I never went back. So what did you wind up dropping, man?
So I just mentioned like Aowashi because I was looking for a sports anime. I didn't really give it a chance because I was like, when I first watched it, I think I was like half paying attention. I was looking at my phone, which is a bad sign to be honest, but I know the show probably could be better. I was doing something else and I wasn't paying attention. So I think I might actually go back to that one, but I definitely dropped Aowashi. I watched a little bit of The Last Summoner, which I think had like a Chinese dub. It was the one where the girl showed up in the guy's living room. Kitchen out of nowhere. It was eating his food. And he was like, what the fuck? You know,
and he just kept getting rid of her.
He kept getting rid of her. He was like, get out of my face. That had a cool first episode, but it wasn't enough to get me to like, nah.
It's one of those things where you like, I got the other things I can do.
I got things I can do. The third one, I can't remember the name of the anime. The one with the Red Ranger.
Love
After
yeah.
Love, yeah. I dropped the
Love
heck
After
out of it.
Red
I was
Ranger.
like, it's sad too, because I was looking to try something different. And that different turned out to be Spy Family, which is more like a lighthearted anime. And it just does that so well. I didn't need anything else. I think it kind of ruined all the other ones.
That's a high bar, but Spy Family really is that good. So.
Yeah, I think what was it? Love at the End? Yeah, Love at the End. I gave it like 2 episodes maybe, and I was like, it's cool. I dropped the hell out of that. I dropped it like it was hot. I like Red Rangers. I like, dating school. I just couldn't get into it, I guess.
It's not the Red Ranger anime I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm ready for that.
The
Red
one
Ranger
I'm looking for is the
Another
Red
World.
Ranger that gets trapped in another world.
Yeah.
That's the one I want to see.
When that comes out,
I'm all in on that one, bro.
Is this an actual show you all talking about, or?
Yeah, it's not a show; it's a manga. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
The dude, it's like literally like a Red Ranger gets into a fight. Like he wins against, like Power Rangers. They you get to the end of the season, you have the big climactic showdown with the main bad guy. That's what happens. They win. Him and his team win, but like something pops off basically where it looks like he dies, but he doesn't die. He goes to another world. He goes to like a fantasy world, and he keeps his powers, and he keeps talking about justice, this, and making friends, and this and that, and he's just in this world. And everybody's like, "What the hell is wrong with this guy?" And it's like a parody of Super Sentai, right down to like, how they have stat sheets for like RPGs and fantasy worlds. They did his stat sheet, and instead of him getting like a regular stat sheet, he got like the Kamen Rider stat sheet where they tell you how many pounds of force that he punches with and kicks with. And everyone's like, what the hell is this? What kind of stat sheet is this? The show is just great. Like, that manga is great, and I can't wait to see that get turned into an anime if it does.
Go ahead and drop the name for that so I can go ahead and get that. I want to read
Red Ranger Trapped in Another World.
That's really
it's just literally just what it's called.
I mean, that's how light novels are. Light novels and manga, like sometimes they just tell you what it is.
True, you right.
At that time I got lost on the bus, something like that.
The time I got lost on a bus and wound up in another universe. Probably an actual story.
Do not.
I say that there's that isekai random name generator that probably would actually be a result of it.
There's a lady or a gentleman right now might be watching podcasts like, I got you, dog. Give me about two butts.
Oh,
I was reincarnated as a refrigerator that didn't have milk.
Woo!
You know,
please.
I think there is something about somebody being reincarnated as a fridge.
I think
No.
it is,
It
too.
wasn't a fridge. It was a drink dispenser.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
vending machine.
Yep. I was reincarnated as a vending machine.
We've gotten way off topic.
We have. It
Oh,
don't
we
matter.
did. We get right. We just having fun. So yeah, I dropped a whole bunch of anime, the dating anime. I dropped Aowashi. Although I think I'm gonna go back to Aowashi. Okay? I wasn't really paying attention when I watched it.
Do it.
And
Do it.
I know I dropped Platinum Man, but that wasn't this past season. That was
Good.
That was a while back.
Yeah, I'm gonna say good.
Yeah.
Platinum
that
Men
one.
was trash.
I was trying, bro. I was like,
Damn.
it's like I was interested. I know this is still a sequel. I'm gonna say it anyway. I was interested in Platinum Man, but it's like, man, it's just something off. I was watching the whole time, like something's off. Like it feels like
It's a
What's
worse.
all this-
It's a worse Future Diary, and Future Diary is already just mid tier. I know some
It
people
was-
might be hurt about that, but some people really like
I
Future
was-
Diary. But Future Diary, I mean, it's
was
fine
bad.
enough. But yeah,
Just
Platinum
saying.
N is a worse Future Diary. So yeah, there you go.
That's crazy, and I actually kind of like Future Diary.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I
Wrong.
took it on my watch
Wrong.
list. Then. Delete.
yeah, so
Terrence.
that's probably-
Terrence, what shows did you drop, man?
You know, I really hate to say drop just because there's potential to get them back, but you
Hold
know,
on,
there's probably
I actually do have a separate category for that. What shows do you know you dropped and you not coming back for?
Well, now that you
Yeah.
talked about it, I guess Trapped in a Dating Sim, because I thought about coming back to it, but the fact you said it's good, but probably one of those I could skip, I probably will now.
You can skip it. Like if you go back and check out another episode and you like, I really do like these characters, you could probably stick through it.
Yeah.
But it is one of those, like, if you don't really like the characters in the world, you can bounce out on it because there are better shows that kind of
Yeah, and that's ultimately what it is. I'm sure there's like better shows that I could watch. So there's that. I'm gonna try to come back to Tomodachi Game, but I may end up not doing so. So that's probably another. And honestly, the rest of them that I have, and I'm kind of skimming through the anime list right now, that's kind of it. Because I mean, the other stuff that I watched, I would at least like to come back to it in some way. So there's not like, I don't really have any heavy drops. It's just stuff that I just didn't have the resolve to finish.
I got heavy drops.
So yeah, I guess that's kind of it for me, to be honest. Because the other stuff I would still like to revisit. I may not, but you know, that's on me. So yeah.
Fair enough. For me, I wound up dropping 4 shows, and there are 6 in all, and 2 of them I'm gonna come back for. So let's just talk about the 4 that I dropped. Skeleton Knight. I mean, y'all saw my rant.
Oh, I mean, I guess I technically dropped that one too. I didn't even consider that.
Yeah, that shit. Get that
That
shit the
would've-
fuck out of here. I don't know. Like, I'm sure. Like, I've heard people say, "Oh yeah, you know, the rest of it is really solid," and I'm like, "Well, if the rest of it is really solid, then why did it open like that? That's just a waste of an episode. Like, it could have been something else. That could have gone down a different way, and it definitely could have been animated a different way. Like, if you want to animate a scene where some girls think, like, you're supposed to leave that blank. Like, what might happen, what could happen. You're supposed to, like, kind of hint at it, maybe show them, like, sneak it up on them or something like that. But that's not what happened. That was like a direct, this is seconds before the shit about to go down. Like, you didn't need all that. You didn't need all that detail. You didn't need the close-ups on people's privates and all that. You didn't need none of that. So that show was just, it was ass at the jump. And I'm like, I could continue watching it, but there are other anime. Like, my plan to watch list on my anime list is long as shit. And I'm all too happy to drop a show that I'm like, all right, this show is ass, and just move on to something else. The other show I dropped, I was kind of surprised I dropped this because at first I was kind of enjoying it. I'm Quitting Heroing. I dropped that. I was like, this is cute. Like, the main character, I think I told y'all about this at first, where the main character was just like this super powerful dude. He like punched the demon princess or the demon queen in the mouth and saved the human world. And the human world looked at him and was like, bro, if you beat her, it's got to be something wrong with you too. And so they like rejected him and treated him like ass. And they treated him like trash. And eventually they tried to kill him. And eventually they kicked him out of the country. And he was like, I don't have nowhere to go. I have nothing to do. Where am I going? And he goes and finds the the Demon Kingdom, and he's like, look, let me work for y'all, let me build y'all up. Y'all know I'm good at whooping up people. I whooped y'all. Remember, I beat everybody's ass. And of course, like he has to like prove himself to the group. And at first I thought that was really funny, but like then they started like kind of selling these weird romance angles. And I'm fine with a good romance, but I'm not fine with like the harem type shit. And it felt like it was leaning in to some harem type stuff. And that's when I like immediately started to fall off in interest. And this season in particular, I looked at shows and I'm all like, sometimes I'll forget this and then sometimes I'll remember. There are always other anime that I should be watching that I never got a chance to watch. And so when I look at an anime like that where it starts to lose my interest, I'm like, you don't need to keep watching this. It's like nobody's paying you to watch these. It's okay to drop it. So I dropped it. I got to like episode 4 and I was like, man, get this shit out of here. Another show I dropped, I think it's the English pronunciation or the English translation, I think is Dawn of the Witch.
That's the one
is.
that's
Oh,
technically, is it
yeah.
like a spiritual successor to, shoot, what is it?
Grimoire of Zero.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Is that what it is? Is it a sequel or is it a spiritual successor?
It's a sequel. Or,
Okay,
like, it's
okay.
it's either a sequel, spin-off. It's in the same universe, and I think those same characters are alive.
Okay,
From
okay.
Grimoire of
okay.
Zero. And I loved Grimoire of Zero. Like, that was a really good show, but it falls under that category, and we've all watched these at some point or another, where it's like a light novel adaptation where they try to do a quick cash grab, and instead of like continuing to develop it, they just move on to the next light novel and adapt that and try to like get some more sales off something else instead of like continuing to adapt and let you see the story play out. And I really loved Grimoire of Zero, but when it was a victim of that, I was like, dang, that sucks. And so I was like, I'll check out Dawn of the Witch, but that first episode was just kind of there. It was too many anime tropes beating me over the head at the same time. And I mean, like, some tropes you like, some tropes you get tired of. And this one had all the tropes I got tired of. And I was like, do I need more of this? And I really kept telling myself, like, I could go back. It might improve. It might improve. And I'm like, it might improve. But you know what is already good? Macross Zero. You should watch some more Macross Zero. And so I just started over on Macross Zero because I was watching it. And this is a slight tangent. I'm going to try to get back on topic real quick. But I started watching Macross 7 in college, like in 2011. And I watched it, but it was like a really slow watch. And it's like not one of those shows you're supposed to binge because it's the early parts are really repetitive. Macross 7 is way too long. It's the longest Macross TV series by far, and it's way too long. They should have cut about 10 episodes, 15 episodes from it. But I watched a lot of it, and then I fell away. I got like halfway through it, and I fell away. And as I've been getting back into Macross, like I watched the original Macross last year, and now I'm like, let's get to 7. And I've been getting into it, and I've been like, damn, this Macross 7 is actually fire. Because like I've gotten to know the characters, and I love the 90s animation and that type shit. And so I was like, why am I watching Dawn of the Witch, and I'm quitting heroing, and Skeleton Knight, and all this bullshit when I could watch something I actually enjoy? So I just dropped it and moved on. Love After World Domination, I had the same problem Keem had. Like, I wanted something different, but my attention span just wasn't long enough. And I was like, I can make space for this, or I can go back and watch some old classic stuff. And Patlabor was there waiting on me, and I was like, I fucking love Patlabor. Let's finish that. And so I was like, man, get this new shit out of here. I'm finna be old. I'm finna be an old head for a little bit. And I went and became an old taku. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and watch this and get these new shows up out of here. So, like, if you're not a top tier new show, I was all too happy to get you the fuck up out of here. So, now I would like to ask, because some of y'all kind of folded this in, are there any shows y'all feel like you need to catch up on? Like, some shows that you like, I dropped this, but I can go back to it. I know Keem said he's going to try to go back to Aoashi. Terrence, what shows do you think you're going to try to go back to?
Aharon, before you cut me off last time, Aharon-san is the one that I definitely want to go back to, just because I've heard a lot of good things about it. I definitely want to watch that. Shikimori is not just a cutie. I got to like episode 3 or 4 of it, and I liked it, so I want to continue watching. I just fell behind on it. I want to see more of Love After World Domination, and you can kind of maybe sense like a pattern here, kind of like the rom-com slice of life BS. Love After World Domination.
You said you like what you like.
Yeah, I'll probably like go back and watch that. And funny enough, I actually ended up starting to watch a couple of Cuckoos. I still think that English title is goofy, but it's actually the story for it is it's interesting to me just because it's about two characters that were switched at birth, so they each went to like different families, and so they grew up when they finally learned that when they finally meet each other's families, which is essentially like their real birth parents and everything. It's just the interactions that come from that are just really interesting, and it has its own little rom-com stuff that goes along with it because the families feel like an even better way for them to grow closer is for them to get married. So like shenanigans ensue and everything. But yeah, you look like you have something you want to say, Sage.
Oh, like as you was like a couple of Cuckoos. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I like looked it up on Live Chart. I had to find it real quick because they got the Japanese names.
Yeah.
And as I'm like, I found it, went to the My Anime List page, and as you were saying they're gonna get engaged, I happened to read that in the description. And I was like, what in the fuck?
Yeah, so it's a wacky show. It's one of those where it's romantic comedy where shenanigans ensue, and it's just fun for me to watch that kind of stuff every now and then. Those are kind of it. They're more, but there's probably just shows I'm not going to get to at this point. It just is what it is. I know, Sage, you and I talked about Birdie Wing. I still haven't watched that. I wouldn't mind getting into it, but it might be one of those things where it's just too late to really like get into it like that unless I just actively choose to watch it. Other than that, that's kind of it. I mean, there's other shows I could name, but I'm gonna keep it real. I know I'm not gonna dive head first into all this stuff, so I might as well be honest and acknowledge that I'm not gonna watch everything. And like you said earlier, you're not being paid to watch any of this, so you don't have to. You're not held hostage. You don't have to watch this.
Look, No Level Cap does not make that kind of money or any money. And so correct yet. And so no, you're not getting paid to watch no anime. So if you want to drop it, punt kick that shit.
Yeah, so
I agree with Keem.
Yeah, so even though I give off this long list, I'm probably not going to finish most of these shows, so it is what it is, unfortunately.
I know you're not, because the summer season about to come up, and you got to pick some of those to watch.
Hey, man, I'm getting ready to visit my parents next week, so, maybe I'll download a few anime episodes and watch them while I'm with them, so, hey, there you go.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's it for me.
All right, Will, are there any shows that you like? I should probably go back and check that out.
I'm gonna throw in another sports anime because I'm looking at Square Enix and I'm like, yeah, I got this far, and I just dropped it. Salaryman's Club, the Batman anime.
That was pretty good. What I watched of it. So if you do decide to pick that up, I'd be very interested to see how it continues.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to pick that back up because I like the premise of it because I already know exactly what the main character's about. But I like that it's about these different badminton teams across these different companies that play against each other and like be in tournaments and things and stuff like that. I kind of like that, and I was like, that's different from just being it's these high school teams. No, these are literally grown men like in business suits handling business on an everyday basis, and they do this after work. So I'm just like, I kind of want to get back into that show. That's one of them, and I'm gonna throw like 2 old shows in there. Like 2 older shows, not 2 of this season, but 2 older shows that I dropped. Jujutsu Kaisen, I dropped that 5 episodes in.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I did, and I know I'm probably gonna get fucking crucified for that because I know a lot of people fucking love it. But I need to make it my business to pick it back up again.
I ain't watched that show at all. Fuck them.
Yeah, that's one.
Not
fuck
the fans, shows. But like if you like one of those weirdos, it's like, how could you not watch this show that I'm watching? Like, that's life. It's gonna be some shows that I watch that you're not watching, and vice versa. You're gonna be all right.
Exactly, and then
man, at this point, just wait on Chainsaw Man, I guess.
Man, when Chainsaw Man comes out, y'all better get ready. It's gonna be wild.
The hype train for that is insane. But sorry, I'm interrupting you. Continue.
I'm not gonna lie. I may have to watch Jujutsu Kaisen just so I can not watch Chainsaw Man because that idea just looks so fucking dumb.
That's a lot of hate.
that is.
It looks bad.
Just like me, for real.
I'm gonna watch this anime that I don't really like, so I can avoid watching this anime that I don't like even more.
No, I mean like you can only it's tangent, but like you can only watch shows that are like you can only skip so many super popular shows before you basically just out of touch. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
like I don't
Yeah.
want to skip too many super popular shows. I'm already not gonna watch Attack on Titan. I know I'm not watching that. I'm not gonna watch Chainsaw Man. Like he got chainsaws for hands and a chainsaw for a face. Cut this bullshit off. All right, cut that shit off. I barely like No Guns Life. And that dude had a gun for a
Ooh.
head, which at least like, okay, you know, he got a gun for a head. You know, that's what's up.
Yeah. At
Uh,
least the Chainsaw Man, it's like a transformation though, so it's not like
it
he's like
is
that
on some
24/7.
transformation type shit, but I'm just like a chainsaw for a head. It's like them over designed Kamen Riders. I've never been a fan.
Oh yeah,
But like,
yeah.
I guess I'll watch Jujutsu Kaisen because I'm like, at least I'll be in touch on that. I'll have watched Spy Family, which I genuinely love. I'll be watching My
Mhm.
Hero, which I genuinely like, and then I'll
Right.
be watching like Jujutsu Kaisen, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. And it's like, okay, well, here's Chainsaw Man. Like, nah, fuck that. I ain't watching that. Here's Attack on Titan. Nah, get that up out of here. I ain't watching that. So like,
Yeah,
I don't
bro.
want to fall too far out of like
I get
touch.
you.
So like, yeah, I Chainsaw. Get this shit out of here. But all
Yeah,
right, my
the
bad.
other-
Will keep going.
It's cool, but the other show that I stopped watching, I only got 2 episodes into it. I just kind of dropped it. It's like it wasn't. I guess because it didn't click with me too quick. I guess I need to sit with another episode. But it was In the Land of Liddell. I watched that 2 episodes in, and I was like, huh, let me
Oh,
watch it.
I
that the
killed
one
it.
with, like, the
I
green
kinda
hair
wanted to
girl?
watch that.
What'd you say, Terrence?
is that the one with like the green hair girl?
That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
one where the girl was like sick and she just
Mhm.
went into like this VR world and she just stayed there for the next all right. She just stayed there, but inside the VR world, time like passed, like a lot of time passed before she could come back, and so it's been like hundreds of years, right?
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Something
Yeah.
like
I
that.
think I watched the first episode of that, and yeah, I think I pretty much agree with you, Will. Yeah.
Yeah, like I got 2 episodes into that, and I just kind of stopped. I don't know. Maybe something, like I said, some of me didn't sit with me. Maybe it didn't click when I was watching it, but I just like, I can just put it to the side for now, I guess, and maybe I'll come back to it. But other than that, anything that's on this season, anything else that I may have picked up and dropped, no, nothing else I picked up and dropped on this season. Just Liddell, JJK, and Salaryman's Club. I want to pick up Salaryman's Club. I want to see what that's all about. See how that goes.
Rakeem, is there anything that you could see yourself going back for, other than Al Ashi, I guess?
This season, maybe not that many, because that was the shows I'm watching currently are the ones I was the most interested in anyway. However, I'm like Will. There are some older shows from previous seasons that are ongoing that, man, I dropped. Believe it or not, My Hero Academia. It's been over a year, and I still haven't finished the last season.
You're not the only one on that, Rakeem. Actually, I think season 3, I pretty much stopped at the end of that, and I didn't see any of season 4. So you're not alone.
I had no issues. I didn't really have issues with My Hero. I just stopped.
Yeah, I mean that's
and
same with me. Yeah.
Yeah, the other 2, these are ones I definitely intend to finish. Go back to My Hero. That's the anime I'm always gonna watch. Fire Force. I dropped that in the first season. Didn't finish it.
Yeah, Keem. I need to get back to that because I stopped and I was like, I'll get to it. It wasn't a priority anymore because I was like, they're not gonna do no more of it. But when they was like, no, we doing season 3, I was like, fuck. I like the show, so I was like, I shouldn't have stopped. Now I gotta go catch up.
Yeah, it's a lot of catching up to do.
Definitely that one. I enjoyed Fire Force, and I actually thought it was really intriguing in the first season when it kind of like you had the enemies, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of monster days with these combustible enemies. It's like, nah, the actual Fire Force is gonna be the enemies for a little while. I like that's really cool. So I need to go back to that. I definitely am intrigued to see how that goes and the new other characters and stuff like that. And believe it or not, Dr. Stone. I wanted to go back and finish up Dr. Stone.
You got
The
time.
last 2 seasons.
I missed out on all of season 2. That was that winter season. What was that winter 2021? That was the season from hell because that had everything. That was the season that burned me out of anime.
I was overwhelmed, and
Yeah.
I was like, man. And those are the shows I always intend to go back to. I need to go back to those.
Maybe I can opt out of JJK because I like Dr. Stone and that's popular.
Dr. Stone's good.
Yeah,
Dr. Stone's very good.
Dr. Stone's really good. Yeah.
Y'all got time. Dr. Stone season 3. I
Yeah,
think?
yeah. Stone War, right? Just came out
No,
last
season
year.
2 came out last year.
Yeah.
Stone Wars, and
Yeah.
season 3 is not coming out this year at all. Like they have a little short coming
Yeah.
out this summer.
Mhm.
Dr. Stone Ryusui. It's like covering
It's like the
their
gap
pirate.
between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what it is because I don't think it's from the manga, but it is covering like the. They get to a point where they like, look, we got to have somebody that can help us sail so we can sail on out of here and find other go to other places. And so they get this sailor guy, like the ultimate I don't want to say sailor, but the ultimate like nautical type dude. And this I guess is focusing on him. He's a very interesting character. He introduces the concept of cash to this world, which I'm like, you're kind of a villain for this, but all right. But he's still likable. But yeah, season 3 is a year off. They said that was 2023, so you got plenty of time. So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, one last one before I go. Overlord. I got into that one from a recommendation from my coworker, and I freaking love the first season. It was really good.
That one you don't have time for.
I'm gonna say
Overlord
season 4
starts July.
Yeah. So that one's intentionally. I mean, the other 2 seasons aren't that long. They're like what 12, 13 episodes each. So I can go through those pretty quickly.
Yeah, you can get through.
I'll probably go power through that and get an Overlord season 4 and be caught up. So yeah, those are ones I'll probably get back into.
Man, I don't want to like. So many of y'all have named like older shows, and I'm like, dang, there's some older shows I probably should go back to. Fire Force is one of them. My Hero is weird. I haven't watched My Hero since season 2. Like I finished season 2 up and haven't gone back. But the thing is, I read the manga.
That's kind of the route that I wanted to go as well. I wanted to start reading the manga just because, like, when you get to like those super popular shonen shows, sometimes it's just best just to go ahead and read them.
They're super long.
Well, I mean, like, the thing is with My Hero and like a lot of these modern shonen shows, there's not a lot of filler.
That is true.
They break the seasons up, and then like they break seasons up both to like cut down on the filler, to make sure that they're always behind the manga so they can continue adapting chapters. And then, of course, to keep the animation quality up. So, like, it's not like back in the day where it's like, oh, here's, 65 episodes of Naruto that got nothing to do with nothing. Here's the bout arc of Bleach.
Podcast.
We did indeed talk about that in a previous podcast. Thank you, Keem.
Choji eating a bag of chips.
Yeah, ain't nobody got time to see Choji eat a bag of chips. But, like, that shit, we're not doing that no more. Like, they handle it differently. But the other thing is, as adults, you got other shit you got to do. And so, like, when you read the manga, it's like...
It's there. Mm-hmm.
It's so quick. You can get through... Like, I read... Like, it'll take me a while to actually watch all the episodes of Shield Hero. But I read the manga in, like, a couple of hours. I read most of what Season 2 will cover in the manga in, like, a couple of hours. And so, like, that's... The time that you save on that, it's like, man, it's hard to justify going back. And so it's not that I don't like My Hero as an anime. It's just that, like, why waste time? Like, I could be doing something else. I could be reading another manga. I could be watching another anime. So, like, I've never gone back. I need to go back for Danmachi because that's about to get season 4. I was, like, halfway through season 3. Season 3 had some great moments, great animation. I love where that plot's going, and I love that cast. So, still one of the best fantasy anime. That and Konosuba, probably still my top 2 fantasy anime right now. And Konosuba is like an isekai too, but like Danmachi is straightforward fantasy. There are a couple other shows that I probably need to like go back and like catch up on before like the new season comes. I need to finish Eden Zero, kind of sorta, but it's got the same problem as My Hero. Read the manga, way ahead on the manga, so like, it'll be a while before, especially at the rate that they doing it. I think Eden Zero season 2 comes out either this fall or next year. And if it's next year, my God, like y'all are gonna be so far, which is good. They need to be far behind because you don't want them to catch up. As far as shows that I need to catch up on from this season, Terrence mentioned one, Birdie Wing. I didn't care. I'm like, who cares about some golf story? But like the way people like that I follow on Twitter have been hyping it up, and they're like, yeah, they basically without saying it, they're like, yeah, this is kind of like Symphogear in its craziness and like over the topness, and I was like, huh? My senses picked up and I heard the word Symphogear and I was like, and I gotta go see what the action's about. I gotta see what the nonsense. I need that particular brand of anime bullshit. I love that. I need that. Put it directly into my veins, so I'm down. And so that's one of them. And then the other 2 that from this season that I need to catch up on are Shadowverse Flame, Rakeem talked about it. I got behind. I watched like the first 4 episodes. It's got to be on episode 12 by now, 12, 13. I got to catch up on that. That was pretty good. And then Rakeem was really selling me on it, telling me like, yeah, you know, some episodes don't focus on the main character. I'm like, yes, because the first season it focused so heavily on the main character that I was like, it's hard to get into this. And then Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. I despise the modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Game. I wish for nothing more than for the Rush duels to come over here so I can go back to dueling, like, you know, without having to read and memorize bread and butter combos and shit like that. And spending hours studying how the meta works and shit. Like, I would like nothing more than just be able to build a deck, duel somebody, and punch them in the mouth, and they punch me in the mouth, and that's it.
Welcome to
And
playing fighting games.
modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a lot like a fighting game. Like, you got to memorize combo lines and make sure that you know what you're doing and do all it. Literally is, you do have to know the bread and butter combos of a deck, just like you have to learn the bread and butter combos of a character. Like, it's crazy. Like, there's no need for that complexity in Yu-Gi-Oh! The Rush duels and the Go Rush kind of get that a lot of that out of there and get back to like just straightforward dueling, like kind of like what you remember from back in the day when you were a kid. And I liked what I saw at Go Rush. I saw the first 2 episodes. I dug it. It was a little more childlike in its approach, as opposed to like, you know, 5Ds got to the point where it was like, yeah, you know, they live in a prison and they live in like the slums and they took the main character to prison, and he had to come up with a deck to get out of prison, and he had to he did like the Final Fantasy 7 bike race to get out of satellite and shit. Like, Jesus, bro, what is going on?
You say it's like the
God.
Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist that shouldn't have been a Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist. It's so weird.
That show is so like it worked for you, like if you were growing up just as you were like in high school or in college, and you like, yeah, I done outgrown this Yu-Gi-Oh shit. And then you see what nonsense is going on in 5Ds, you like, well, hold on, what? This man, he got beat up by the cops. So you just wind up
saw a
getting
lady
into
toss a dude out a window and died. Dude died. Holy
You
crap.
saw a lady get tossed out of a window and she died.
That's true. Oh, that is true.
They fought like fallen gods and shit. I'm like, yo, what is going on?
Guys walking the earth and giant mechs that came together.
And what's the other show? Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 ain't too much away from that. Like, it starts out kind of lighthearted, and then eventually they're like, hey, actually, there are multiple universes, and they're all at war with one another, and eventually it builds up towards an interdimensional war between all the different. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? Like, it's supposed to be a card game for kids.
It is.
None of that. But I mean, like, Go Rush kind of gets back to the roots, and it goes back to like old school stuff. So I'm like, all right, I check it out. I watched the first 2 episodes. I liked it. It's really more of a time thing. It's not that I just didn't like the show. It's a far cry from like I'm quitting heroing or Love After World Domination, where I would have to go back and justify in my brain, like, is this really worth it? Maybe it picks up. Like, I don't want to go back for no maybe it picks up type shit. Like that, my time, at a certain point, you have to decide, like, okay, your time is way too precious. So, but yeah, I think, like, how do y'all? This is how we gonna close out.
All right.
How do you feel about the spring season as a whole? Rakeem, would you like to go first?
Sure. I think the spring season as a whole had a decent variety of anime. I tried to branch out, but I ended up kind of going still towards stuff I like. Spy Family being the most hyped anime absolutely lived up to the hype, which really that's a part of the reason I look kind of positive towards the season, because that was usually as a centerpiece anime of each season. You know, like a big one that everyone expects to come out and like blow up. And this one just did it. And what I loved about it was that it crossed, you know, different people's tastes. Online, male demographics liked it, female demographics liked it, kids seemed like to like it. And I could talk about it with my coworkers. I could talk about with you guys, people online, and we all have the same feeling, like warmth and just a nice, cool anime. I like that. I think for me, I wish there was more stuff like that. It kind of was different and caught my attention. That could be, you know, to my detriment as well. I could have branched out a little more, but I like what I liked. I like Shadowverse Flame. I like Spy Family, and a few other things. You know, animes I was already watching, like Dragon Quest: Adventures to Die and Legend of Galactic Heroes, that have been going on for a while. But I was okay with the season for what I watched. I'm looking forward to the next season, as the big anime I'm looking forward to now is the new Ruby anime.
Yeah.
It's Will, how do you feel? Like, how did you feel about the spring season? This spring season.
Okay, for this spring season here, even though I didn't really get a chance to dip into a ton of shows like I wanted to, because I got a job and I stream and I do other shit too involving family. So I'm just kind of like don't really have the time I should have or want. But to top it off, this season has so much that I think anyone can kind of pick up at, especially with it having Spy Family kind of like being the spearhead of this season. That could be a great point for anyone to jump into if they want to jump into the spring season. So I always say start with the best show you can pick up, start there, and then branch out somewhere because there's something in there for you, whether it's a sports anime, whether it's a slice of life, a drama, or something like that, or an isekai if you into that type of thing. So, so it's a solid season. It's a solid season, no doubt. So pick up a show and go. It's something for you here.
Terrence, how did you feel about the spring season as a whole, man?
I think the spring season was solid overall. Putting Spy Family aside because it was clearly like the standout of the season and probably easily one of the standouts of the year. I think there was something here for everybody. Just looking over everything that was here, you have your rom-coms, you have your slice of life, you have your shonen, your action, you have your card game stuff. Yeah, I think that you have sports. I think this season has something for everyone. Now, whether it's like top tier level, like your Spy Family, not necessarily, but I think this season had a lot of good, maybe like B, C tier anime. There were some that were kind of disappointments for me. After finishing, I'm not gonna like be long on this, but like after finishing Shield Hero, I think season 2 just didn't live up to season 1. It's fine overall. Like I'd give it maybe like a B, maybe like a C plus. It's fine.
Give me a number.
A number?
Yeah.
7.
Okay.
7. Yeah, it's 7. I mean, it's a solid watch, but that's it. It's not better than the first season. Like the first season is at least like an 8.5 or a 9, but season 2 is like a 7.
In other words, like there's no reason to stop watching something you watching and pick this up.
Yeah. I mean, and who knows if we're going to get a season 3 with the way season 2 ended.
No, it's confirmed.
It's confirmed?
Was confirmed. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
season 2 and 3 were confirmed at the same because it's really kind of split core when you think about it. It's 12 and 12.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll see how I guess season 3 or season 2 part 2 is or whatever. Summertime rendering for me was like the surprise of this season. Like I really am enjoying it. Yeah, I'm still watching it, and just the mystery aspect of it really reminds me of Erased, and of course ReZero with the time aspects of it. But yeah, I'm really like it. I hope that it's supposed to go on for like 25 episodes, so we're really just getting started with it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. But yeah, I think overall this season was pretty solid. I don't think that out of this year, based on all the shows that we know that are coming for like the summer and the fall, I think summer is looking stacked AF and fall is looking legendary. So I think just overall this year for anime is a great one. Like I think this might be one of the better ones in like recent memory. Like it's just a really good year, just full of a lot of solid shows. And of course, with these anime seasons now, there's so much stuff coming out that it's impossible to keep up with everything. So yeah, just, you have to kind of like pick your shows and watch what you can and, just enjoy. So yeah, I think overall it's a pretty good season.
The season was mid. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it.
You think it was mid?
I thought it was mid. Like, okay, I'll agree with you on this. It's filled with a lot of B and C tier shows, not necessarily in quality, but definitely in terms of like hype. It was like, when you really got down to it, other than Spy Family and Kaguya-sama, most of the series, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's a show. A show just came out. Like a lot of them, because like we still not free of this like monster that is isekai anime.
Yeah.
That's choking out all of the originality from fantasy and from anime in general, and they still not really doing like it's gotten to the point now where they like, look, we're gonna give you this hyper specific idea, but it's like that hyper specific idea has been done like 5 times already. you know. And so like I'm just exhausted. I'm like I'm tired of seeing multiple isekai every season. And yeah, there were a few other anime like I'm not a big sports guy, and the big sports that I do like are like basketball and football, and like, you know, anime not really about that. Basketball kind of sort of, you got Slam Dunk, you got
Okay.
Kuroko no Basket, but what's the other one? The short dude.
The other no basket? Like two of them.
Hiru no Sora.
Yeah,
Hero no
Hiro no
Sora.
Sora.
Yeah, okay,
That's
okay.
the one.
I only watched
So you
three
got like
episodes of that one. Far.
you got like 3 basketball anime, which I was never like. I don't like basketball anime. I don't like basketball that much that I watch an anime about it. Football I'd watch just to see what kind of nonsense they come out with. But really, if I'm gonna watch a sports show, it probably would be along the lines of Kuroko no Basket, like that, like where it's basically like they got superpowers.
Yeah,
That
that anime is awesome.
Inazuma 11 or Inazuma 11, where they have like
Yeah.
basically superpowers and shit. I'm like, okay, I can fuck with that, but otherwise, I'm just like, I don't care that much. I'd rather just watch something more fantastical. You did have a few other anime. You had stuff like Healer Girl. You had stuff like what's the other anime that I remember seeing where I was like, yeah, you know, you had this.
Like what? Like dance sewer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Thank
Yeah.
you. That, and then, you know, you had a few other anime, like some thrillers, like Tomodachi Game and shit like that.
Yeah.
Those aren't really my speed, and that might be why I'm complaining so much. Where I'm like, man, you know, it didn't have a lot for me.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
kind of
Spy-
looking at this, and I can
Right.
see, yeah, I can see you giving it mid because I'm looking at everything here. It's like there's a lot of rom com stuff. There's a lot of slice of life. There's a lot that,
Right.
yeah, I can see why you would say that. I put it that way. Yeah.
Right.
I'll agree with Will. There's a fuck ton of variety. There is something for everybody. Like there was at least one show for you, and you know, go outside and touch grass. Hell, you
Yeah.
know, how many shows do you really need? You know, I got my 3, 5 really, if I want to count Shadowverse Flame and Go Rush. Like I got 5 shows. That's a show a day. You know, I really shouldn't be bitching. But like, if you asking me like how I feel the same way about this that I felt about all the Summer Games conferences when we did that. You know,
Yeah.
I love Spy Family. That's gonna go down. Like I by the time we finish that, I may have to have conversations with myself about where that fits in my top 20. That's how much I like that show. Maybe top 25, somewhere in that range. So like that's an excellent show, and I'm glad I watched it. Shield Hero, I kind of agree with you. Like the really cool stuff that comes from the Spirit Tortoise stuff comes when that dude gets back from the other world, and when he has to start dealing with the other heroes that were mysteriously missing during the whole Spirit Tortoise saga. And I don't know how the anime handled it, but in the manga, they weren't there for most of the fight.
They weren't there for like they were there for one episode and that's it for the season. And then they're in like episode 1 and they're in episode 12. That's it.
When the really
Called
interesting
Shield
stuff,
Hero.
it is, but like the really interesting stuff that happens with the Spirit Tortoise comes later on when he has to deal with all the shit that happens to those other heroes and like how they behave coming out of it. That's where the really interesting stuff comes in. So like Shield Hero season 2, when I really looked into it, I was like, oh, yeah, this isn't. It's fine. And that's really about all I can say. I agree with Terrence. It probably, like, from what I see of the manga and knowing that the anime already has kind of botched it, 7 is going to be about right. Ultimate Game, another 7. The animation just didn't elevate that property at all, and it desperately needed it. Like, it's an okay show on it. It's an okay manga / light novel that could be updated to, like, excellent with animation that's, like, a proper animation budget. It didn't get it, and so, like, it's just, Shadowverse Flame, I still need to go back and see that. Birdie Wing, that's again along the lines of like superpowers and nonsense and like over the top bullshit. Maybe if I finish those shows, I'll have a higher opinion. But overall, I'm like, yeah, this season wasn't for me. Compared to the summer looks fucking packed. The summer looks like it's gonna have like with Don Machi alone. I'm like, yeah.
Summer has like 5 shows immediately that I know I want to look at. So yeah.
Don Machi for sure, and the Kamen Rider W series.
Man, I
those two
cannot
alone,
wait to watch that.
those two alone are like, you got me.
You got me.
So like that alone is, and we'll talk more in detail about the summer season later. But like for right now, that's what I'm like. Yeah, summer looks good. I'm not as sure. Like you keep saying that fall is hype. What's in fall, Terrence?
I know fall has Bleach, Chainsaw Man.
yeah.
There's other stuff, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Sorry.
No, you good. I mean, like I just
Yeah.
wanted to like. I wanted to see like, okay, well, what else is in fall? And oh, My Hero comes back.
Hang on, I can tell you right now. JoJo, well, maybe JoJo
My
doesn't
Family
count.
comes back.
Yeah, Spy Family comes back. Mob Psycho
Mob
3.
Psycho.
Yes, Mob Psycho.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Golden Kamuy.
Ooh, To Your Eternity. I guess season 2. I guess this is To Your Eternity.
Really?
I
Oh, that
think
was
so.
hot.
Is it?
Oh shit! The new Gundam comes out in the fall.
Yeah,
It
the
does.
witch,
Oh,
the
yeah,
witch,
the
whatever
Witch
it's
of
called.
The Witch
yeah.
from Mercury.
Gundam.
Yeah.
New
That's a
fourth
lot.
season of Golden Comic. Oh yeah, fall is stacked.
I got to catch up.
fall is stacked.
A remake for Urusei Yatsura.
Yeah, that too. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, fall is stacked, and I'm hype already.
Yeah.
And then I think summer has like a couple of shows. Like I did say I was going to try to get into more magical girl shows. So Tokyo Mew Mew, I'll probably check that out just to see what it's about. What's the other show I was going to check out?
Devil's a Part-Timer season 2 comes back. Well,
Oh,
not
yeah,
comes
yeah,
back,
about
but
that.
it's happening. Rent a girlfriend. I gotta watch my trash. So yeah. Made in Abyss.
Made in Abyss does come back. Ruby.
Which I heard
Ruby,
lovely things
yeah.
about.
That's already started.
I know Keem really hated this anime. Like he really fucking hated it. But I still gotta go ahead and watch because I like the manga, like what I like to the manga. So I gotta check out Orient. I gotta go ahead and finish up
Oh yeah.
Orient season 2. Let's see. Cause like I didn't like the manga had this weird thing where it wasn't being translated. So I was like, okay, I gotta wait. And so now I'm behind.
Okay.
And so like I don't know what season 2 gets into. So I kind of want to check out like, okay, how
It might be one of those shows where like it starts off kind of, doesn't get into its meat until a little later.
How far did you get?
Episode 2 or 3.
Yeah. That early on,
it was
it was a lot of
super early.
nonsense and nothing. So
I like it just wasn't. This wasn't for me. At the time, so I'm saying.
It wasn't.
nothing wrong with it. Like sometimes this show's just not for you. But I mean, yeah, like overall, it's a okay. Like it's not bad. Spy X Family, like Spy Family, is gonna wind up being, if not Anime of the Year, in the running for Anime of the Year. So
yeah, I could see like a 6 or a 7 for this spring season. Yeah, I think that's justified. I think
That's fair.
When we kind of pointed stuff out, I was like, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I was probably like giving it a little bit too much praise. Yeah, I think I'll come down to earth a little bit.
no, I mean like that's the
No,
thing.
like, that's your opinion of it. That's how you feel
One,
about it.
it's your opinion, and two, I really think it is what Will said, where it's like there was something for everybody.
Yeah.
But I mean, like when there's something for everybody, that means there's a lot that's not for you.
Yeah, true.
And so, like for me, it was like not a ton of stuff for me. It's not an objective thing, of course. Like if you felt like there were, because like you named a bunch of like rom-com stuff that you probably are really excited to get into. So I would say like, yeah, you probably, it's not wrong. You say it's an 8, maybe even a 9 for a season.
No, I
like,
wouldn't go that high.
Look, I was just trying to, I'm trying to help.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
But yeah, like for you, I would say that, but for like me, I'm like, you know, 7 just to be generous.
Yeah.
6, it's a 7 just off the strength of like technically Legend of Galactic Heroes came back and Spy Family, and those two alone, I'm like fire. So I'll give them that for that.
Give him more
But I think
sevens than the Sony press conference.
All right. Okay, that's gonna wrap it up for this week's episode. And if you enjoyed this episode, I need a few things from you. I need you to do us a favor and hit that subscription button on YouTube. I need you to follow us on Twitter and TikTok. I need you to tell your friends about us. And I need you to do me a personal favor and have an excellent week. Peace.
And play Triangle Strategy, y'all.